Well, a few months back, I spent time in Great Britain because I wanted to see firsthand the strides radical Islamists have made in that country. As you'll see a bit later in this show, it's worse than I even imagined, and the British government is letting it happen, in some cases encouraging it. But not everyone's going down without a fight. While I was in London, I sat down with two members of the British House of Lords who are fighting back against the Islamization of their country. Check it out. Lord Pearson, what has been the reaction of your colleagues in the House of Lords when you've taken a strong stand on issues like Sharia and radical Islam in Great Britain?
Well, it depends what you mean by my colleagues. If you mean the British political class and political establishment, who I do not regard as my colleagues, I hope I'm a rebel and a maverick in that society. But amongst the British political class, I mean, there has been outrage and ridicule. When all my party has suggested, the UK Independence Party has suggested, is that the burqa should be banned together with any other form of dress which hides your face, in other words, the helmet of the biker, the hoodie, and so on. Those should be banned in public places, particularly in airports and undergrounds. What is the point of having all these CCTV cameras, of which we have more, I gather, than China per capita? What is the point of having them if people can cover their faces and not be recognized? One of the bombers, don't forget, one of the bombers of the July the 7th bombing in London actually escaped in a burqa. So there is a security issue here, and it's that security issue we wish to address. And if that brings the subject of Sharia law up the British political agenda, then so much the better.
Talk about how Great Britain is losing its Judeo-Christian values and traditions as Islam advances here.
Islam is different because it is a religion, some say also an ideology, it is a legal system, and it is a political system, all rolled into one. It is a complete way of life. And the penalty for leaving it or criticizing it can be death. And the other difference is that these people really believe in what they're doing. They believe in it enough to blow themselves up and indiscriminately blow up the Kafir and indeed themselves. We, I'm afraid, now believe in very little. And so we are weak and we are on the retreat. And we are retreating in our led by our political and religious establishment in pretty well every direction. I mean, when you've got the Archbishop of Canterbury saying that he really thinks we'll just have to accept Sharia law as running in some of our major cities because that will bring social cohesion. When you have the leader of the Church of England as misguided as that, then it's quite iconic. You've got quite a problem there.
Well, it's not a dream, it's a reality in Britain. We already have Sharia law in this country. We already have Sharia courts. And so it's already here, although it is fundamentally incompatible with the values of democracy and the values of our legal system, for which people have died. Incompatible in at least two ways. First of all, any form of Sharia denies equality before the law, as between men and women, as between Muslims and non-Muslims. Any form of Sharia does not give you freedom to choose and change religion, because anyone can become a Muslim. If you want to leave Islam, well, then the troubles really begin. And there have been a lot of cases of Muslims who've tried to convert out of Islam, have been intimidated, harassed, followed, had to flee, tried to go into hiding, still in hiding, because Sharia law and those aspects of its teachings are already here in Britain today. And some of our communities are becoming increasingly closed, and very hard for people in those communities actually to get access to the wider values and the wider way of life. And indeed, in one of our areas in Britain, some time back, one of our Home Secretary was actually, they tried to exclude him and said, this is our land.
Now, Lord Malcolm Pearson, who you saw in that interview, recently retired from the British government. So that leaves Baroness Cox and, well, which British politician will step up, be bold, and speak truth to Islamic power? Because I can assure you that right now, Winston Churchill is turning in his grave.